Hello, hello, hello. In this video, we'll be going about looking at Netflix, The Stranger Things tarot deck. Now, why did I buy this deck? Because it was half price. This retailed for $49.99 Australian and I got it for $25. The reason why I purchased this deck was simply because I had on hold the similar deck made by the same creators, Inside Editions, for Buffy the Vampire. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer was going to cost me $53. Obviously, that includes shipping and tax and whatnot, Australian. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy this Stranger Things just to check out the quality and just wait. Perhaps Buffy the Vampire would also go down on special as well. This deck is a pip deck. It does obviously have a story about it, but that's the cover there. You can see the cover there and you can see upside down. See there the storytelling there. It is written by Cassie Gilly and it's illustrated by Sandor Chisley. Okay, so I want to talk about these cards. I've done readings with them, and like any reviews that I do here on this channel, I like to do readings. I like to discuss the readings. I like to see what has come up in the cards. So the card quality itself is quite thin. Now I'm quite thick. I'm finding it quite cardboardy, to be honest, and I feel like you've really got to get used to the shuffling. Some people might really like it. I've decided now I really love thin cards, and I mean thin cards. So if you're going to see me talk about card decks, if there's a thin card and I say I love it to shuffle, it's going to be the same as the Anatomy of Tarot, and that got a bad write-up about people about their card decks. So this one flings back into place. You won't have a problem. I don't feel like you'll have a problem with it marking or anything like that. There is no gilding there, so it's always going to, I guess, remain relatively clean. That is the reverse of it, very 1980s. 1980s is my era, like I grew up around this time, guys. And in the reverse, in the back here, you're seeing the board for this as well, Stranger Things. So I will put a link in the description box below. So let's talk deeper about this deck itself. There's a few things that I don't like about this deck. Firstly, when we look at the guidebook itself, and I love the way it's got this. When I first looked at this, it looks so real. It looks so real. It looks old, worn, tethered. So does the guidebook. It looks like an old notebook. It looks like you're on an adventure, which is obviously what the show's about, very mystical. Each card has a full page. It has got the upright and upside down or reverse meaning. There is spreads at the reverse. Now, what I don't like about this deck is the way it came was everything was back to front. The Fool was the last thing. Everything was reversed. So I don't know whether that was a packaging issue or whether it was done, which can happen in the printing house, but it's probably not a packaging issue, simply because the book itself goes from, when you look at the minor arcana, it starts with the suits and works its way backwards. King, Queen, Knight, Page, 10, 9. I'm used to working the other way around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I found it not hard, but I just found it not seamlessly navigated. So another issue you may find is both minor and major cards have Roman numerals on them, which can be a bit confusing if you're just quickly looking at the cards and glancing at them. So keep that in mind also. Pat hate, and I've really got to get used to this. They've changed the minor arcana to strands, scoops, dice and spokes, and I feel like all the S words there can get very, very confusing, and I forget already. Like I'm like, what's this one for, the minor arcana? What's like, guys, can we just keep it the same? Like, honestly, okay, you all want to be unique, but be unique in your artwork. So for instance, the strands is wands, the scoops is pentacles, dice is swords, and spokes is cups. A lot of people have said ice cream should have been cups, the spokes is this, but we'll see where it fits in. So that's the booklet there. It goes through everything. I like the way that it has integrated the story, all the characters in here. As I said, it is a bit of a pip deck. That does not worry me about it being a pip deck, meaning, like a lot of the pictures don't dictate, you just got 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, for instance. because I feel like it really helps with your intuition. It helps you connect with the deck. You know, I've had a few decks that I didn't realize that really opened me up and helped me read. So if you're a very visual person, I feel like you might gravitate to this deck. The mages are great. Maybe you may just use the mages in this deck depending on how you want to work. So let's get straight into this deck, looking at the cards very clearly. As the cards pop up, I will discuss about any readings that I've done. So here we've got the Fool, which is about the new journey. The Magician, always a reminder that we have everything that we need. The High Priestess. So I'm not too sure now whether I'll pre-order Buffy. So I have cancelled that for now. This is Joyce, you know, like just a reminder to take care of ourselves, you know, the mother there. The Emperor, that's Jim Hopper, very level-headed. The Hierophant is Murray. You know, this is where it was taken on the 4th of July, I think. It's just a reminder to sort of look at us like a big kid. This did come up in a reading. This was about somebody scamming you, you know, like it's like they're making you out to be a bit of a joke. That's probably now. They're making you out to be a bit of a joke, you know, like they're sort of like, and they're leaving you with everything. Like you've got your hands. So it's a bit like they're making you a laughing stock, you know, like it's like not everyone's in your corner. So that's how I read the Hierophant. And, you know, it was about coming out of a relationship and knowing you're worthy and whatnot. The Lovers obviously come up in a few relationships about how we're talking to people, how we're integrating, how we've got new relationships coming up. The Chariot card, I'm yet to see that in a reading, so that would be quite interesting. The Charity card, you know, it's all about action. So I quite like this deck. I've liked the readings that I've got. You know, I found them to be quite easy to navigate. I found the book really easy to utilize. At the end, I will pull a card for the collective. We'll see what we get, and I'll read it straight from the book. That's really a reminder there of the power within, about confidence. And then we've got 11 here, which is a shame that they didn't do 11 as 11. So this is 9, the Hermit, you know, like being at peace with our thoughts there. This came through about somebody. It was just a reminder to look after their body, look after their back, rest, take time out. And then we've got the Wheel of Fortune. I'm not too sure how I feel about this card, the Wheel of Fortune. The cardstock to me feel very cardboardy, you know, but that could be, you know, to fit in with this time, you know, like that cardboard type of feeling that we used to pack things with and have our games, you know, used to have that cardboard feeling, and it wasn't sort of like shiny, it was more like a flat cardboard. So it could be fitting in to the 80s, the time of this, you know, this show. So this is Justice, about Nancy Wheeler, you know, speaking from the truth, you know, speaking up from her work position. The Hangman here, interesting. We've got it this way. This is all about will, about pausing. Death here, that's Barb. The Death card came up in a reading where the wife wanted to know whether to leave her husband. He made a really bad financial decision. But this Death card really came up. It was about making the most of a bad decision and knowing that you're with a diamond. Currently, you're just going through a rough spot, and keep persevering with it. Keep talking positively. Everything will transform and it will turn around. And to really wait until the dust settles. And that was the meaning of the Death card in that reading. Temperance is all about mic and balance, you know, and he really hasn't changed throughout the whole show, I believe. This Devil card came up. It came up actually in the Lovers reading, and it came up about somebody's seeing the light within you. It was a really, really nice reading. You know, she'd been through a really hard relationship and she was talking to somebody new, and I just said, look, somebody's seen the light within you now. You know, what you would once do or take on before, you won't do today. So it's just beautiful that they're seeing, they're very worthy of, you know, to have you in their lives. You know, they're appreciative of that. The Tower, all about the rebuilding. Now it's interesting, the Tower one about the rebuilding. This reminds me of Sonia Croquette, about her one where she's got the tree and it's coming to life. So it's interesting, that take. The Star was all about having faith, rebuilding, in a reading that I did. The Moon, I'm yet to see that one in a reading. I'm yet to see this, the moon card in a reading. It's all about unfinished business in this deck. Let me just put these down. And then we've got the sun card. Dustin. Billy is a justice, judgment card. The artwork's incredible. The world. And if I do input some of the cards in here, it's because of the focusing. I didn't realise that the focusing was out on some of them. Came up in a reading, the world one. It came up about, you know, like pushing through this relationship, pushing through, getting through it, working together, you know, like this person, you know, he's in the rough at the moment, but he is a diamond. His soul is there, you know, he's done a few mistakes, but you can work at it, you know, you can get through things. And then we have the minor arcana, the spokes. Now, these are all wheels. Wheels of bikes, wheels of cars, skateboards. So we've got the ace of spokes. So as I said, the book itself shows it the other way around. I'm showing you what I'm used to, which is the ace first. Then we've got the two of spokes, which is, you know, two people riding in tandem. Sorry about the blurriness. There we go. Here. The four. Beautiful. I really enjoy the artistry about this. It's really nice to see a deck that's just of art as opposed to computerized copy and paste, so to speak. So it's just a nice refreshment from some of the decks that I've been utilizing lately. Like this is a lovely one. Like look at that, you know, it's all about childhood fun, being at a fair. And then we've got this one here, which is clouds. You know, that's all about, you know, don't let your imagination get the best of you. Got the 8 here. Very similar, the 8 and 9, very, very similar in colouring. One's leaning up on something, one's standing up by themselves. The 10, skateboard. The page of spokes, Jonathan. The knight, you know, he just knows it. He just knows. Steve. Got the queen here being very intuitive, powerful. I mean, really, this is what this whole show is based on, is the paranormal. And we've got the king here. Share anything you'd like in the chat. And it's quite interesting because the booklet here says, you know, when he rolls into your reading, like when the king rolls into your reading. And it's quite interesting, that line in the guidebook would have went really well for the dice, you know, like when the dice rolls. So it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought the word roll would be fitting for the spokes or the bike. So that was an interesting take, play on words there. So it's a real pop culture deck, you know, like around here it's sort of like the information, it's sort of stuck, so it's like you're putting all your information away, you know, it's like a guidebook, basically, like you're investigating. So this is the Ace of Strands, you know, the lights again, how it all started, you know, how she started to speak to her son. The Two of Strands. So as you can see, you know, you've really got to utilize the guidebook. You know, if you're new to reading, read the guidebook, know, and not even know the story, because how can you make a story out from this, you know, the three lights there, you know. It's an interesting one there. The 4 is the doorway, you know, comfortable on the porch light. Might actually put her crawling there, lighting her own way. These are a little bit out of order. I've got 5 and then it jumps to 7. Forgive me. the house there. 8. I love this one. I know, as simple as it is, I love this card. There's another card that's one of my favourites, which is the tent, but I just love this card. I love the way it's done. I love the meaning of it. I just love this card. You know, like it's so simple, but I love it. The 9. This is all about obstacles and getting stronger through obstacles. 10 is all about being overburdened there. Look, she's trying to do everything herself. The page, this came up in a reading. It came up about a lady taking a flight, and this looked like the air hostess to me. So that's how it was projected in a reading. And for somebody else, it was projected about singing, so you know, with the microphone. So it's interesting how, you know, this visual aid popped up. The night is really about exploring something new, listening to your instincts. Now, we haven't got a lot of the characters from season 4, I believe. So there's an Eric character. He doesn't make mention in this deck, I think because the deck would have been done prior to the season obviously coming out, so that's the reason why he's not in this. So that's Nancy there. And you've got Bob here. You know, like a trusted leader as the king. And then we'll move to the scoops. So we've got the Ace of Scoops. Now, a lot of people have said they're so disappointed in the scoops. For me, I quite like it. I feel like it's whimsical. I feel like it fits into the character of the show. I just like it. I think it's because people expected more with the imagery and more about the storytelling. But I feel like with reading tarot, it should be about your intuition as well. It should be about what you're getting, you know, like for here, it's like the balance, you know, so it's interesting how, you know, it's about room to grow. So it's interesting what people think here. Like 3 scoops is all about collaborating, working together, but you know, like it's obviously listening to your intuition and what you find there. And like you can see here, the sea, the boat, you know, is it something about a voyage? Is it about 3 people stuck in the middle? So it really depends on how you interpret the images as well. The 4 of scoops came up in a reading. And then we've got the 5 of scoops. So the artistry, I just like it. I think it's fresh, it's fun. It's different. If you're a big fan, you'll like it. It's all about asking for help. It's all about practicing mastery. You know, you've got a lot of blobs of ice cream there. It's about how are you going to carry this, you know. And you've got the 6, which is all about asking for help. The 7 is all about mindfulness. Then you've got the 8, which is all about practice, mastery. The 9 of scoops. The 10 here, you know, like the 10 of scoops. To me, I would have thought this more of the 2 of swords, you know, the crossing of the arms here. So that's interesting how it's put in here as the 10. The page of scoops. The Night Robin. It's all about being trustworthy and resourceful. The Queen of Scoops, Karen Wheeler. Sorry. Practical. And then you've got the King, Dependable Steve. Dependable Steve. It's just lovely, the artistry. I can't fault this deck. I know a lot of people hate it. they're on about the ice creams, it should be the cups. You know, I just feel like I just enjoy it. I just enjoy the brightness of it, the fun of it. Some things I really don't enjoy about this deck is the way the book is. As I said, it's a bit backward to me, you know, like it is a bit backward. This came up in a reading. This was all about someone's giving you fake compliments. You know, someone's being deceitful, they're giving you some fake compliments, be very mindful about them. You know, it's really about, and it came up with the Lovers card, so it's really about a new friendship. Someone's giving you some fake compliments there. Be very mindful about that. You know, they're coming from a place of just not being truthful here. 3, it's all about liberation. And this would have to be one of my favourite cards of the deck as well. I just love this one. This came up in a reading as well. And it was a very simple message. It was just really about the person was working too hard and it's really time to take a time out and have a break. This also came up in a reading. Six of dice. So if you are looking at buying this deck, you know, you can get it for a great price now. It's a lot cheaper than when it was first released. So I'd just say grab it now, you know, before they disappear, before they clear out. So maybe it didn't have the impact that it thought it was going to have, you know, leaving a major person out of the deck or it being released too early or being a pip deck. But you know, it'd be quite hard putting a lot of, I think, tarot meanings in here. Like, forgive me if I'm wrong, let me know what you think or some ideas about what could have been added in this deck. This came up in a reading as well. It's all about putting yourself first, and it was about somebody's always wanting something from you, you know, like they're really pushing boundaries, you know. It was really about that. And it also came up with the Hierophant. So it also came up with the Hierophant. So this came up in the reading about the person pushing boundaries, not doing the right thing, sort of, I guess, always wanting something from you. They were always putting you in the middle, and then they're making fun of things. Like, they're saying a compliment, but they're saying it very backhandedly. You know, they're using humour as a joke, but it's quite passive aggressive. So, you know, that's sort of like they're scamming you with their relationship or how they feel. So that came up in a reading. And it was quite interesting because this came up in a reading as well, but they came up together one after another, and you can really see the difference between the 9 and the 10, and also the storytelling of how we go from here to here. So that was very, very interesting. Then we have Will. I think it's just lovely artwork. If you like the show. This came up in a reading. It's all about taking action. Cully. And it came up in a reading with another card. I think it was the 10 of Swords, and it was about buying a gimmick, you know. And the fast action here is about being really careful. You're not thinking straight. You're going to be stuck with something and you're really going to have big regrets. I actually really felt it was to do with the motorhome. Also came up in a reading. And it was that same reading where the husband did financial advice. And it was just a really reminder here of be calm, be kind, you know, and don't be mean, you know, be calm, be kind, be loving. We've got the final one. The King of Dice. Isn't he adorable, Victor? The artwork is incredible. So with the deck itself, it can come and feel quite thick, and I think you've got to really, really make sure that you're pushing it all back in, getting rid of all the air, and that to make yourself. I find the shining, and I'm doing this over my camera, so it's a little bit difficult. I find the shuffling, you know, it's not the best deck to shuffle, to be honest. But that is the deck. I would really love to hear your insights, but buying this deck now, I've really realised I won't be buying the Buffy the Vampire deck. I only really bought this because I really want something fun, something TV, something new that I haven't really had. And I think now that I've got one deck like this, I won't be buying another one, you know. So if you are looking for this deck, it is on special. I will put the links in the description box, and hope you have some fun with it like I have. Hope you come up with some great readings. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.